Okay. So now see, as we know in last class, we people studied in detail regarding the male reproductive system. And today's class, we are going to study the next concept is what is the female reproductive system, and the next one is how the fertilization will take place, and the next one is development of embryo. So if we are studied in detail till here, then we'll going to study what is the menstruation cycle. That is what we can say sexual cycle in females or menstruation cycle. And after that, what is the preventive methods of birth control, and as well as what is birth control and preventive methods of birth control. So that almost the chapter will be completed. So coming to here, the male reproductive system, yesterday we have studied. So as I hope you all understand very clear. Is it as Tarani, Varshini? So now if you notice it here, in the male reproductive system, as we know, they used to produce male gametes, which we used to call it as sperms. So now this is used to produced by a male reproductive system, which is present in we are studying about the human reproductive system. So we are studying a human reproductive system. That is what the male human reproductive system, which is usually we'll see in male bodies. So now if you'll see what is the main part, what is the first part where it is a source of sperms, that is what we used to call as, what is that called as? Testes. Yes or no? So now this is the testes which is present outside the abdominal, below abdominal of our body. So which is present outside, and this is what actually, this is the source of two things. What is that, guys? Which is only produces what? It will produce one hormone, and as well as male sex hormone, male sex organs or cells, which we used to call as sperms. Is it yes or no? Please respond.
Testosterone.
So it is used to produce sperms and as well as a sex organ, that is a sex hormone. That is what we used to call as
Testosterone.
So testosterone. Yes or no? So now, if you notice it, after that, once this sperms plus testosterone is released by the testes, as we know, this testis is covered by a small like a muscular pouch. That is what which will help to the muscular pouch, which will protect the testes and also controls the temperature, body temperature, to make alive the sperms. That is what we used to call as what? Scrotum. Yes or no? Please respond. So now this is what present outside the abdominal cavity. So now if you notice it, once the sperms are released, from there immediately a body part called as, what is that body part known as? Anyone? A scrotum. Very good. So now once the sperms are released, sperms plus testosterone is released. So now then we immediately somebody temporary storage. Who is the temporary storage? So the temporary storage is what? Epididymis. Yes or no? So epididymis is used to collect all the sperms which is released by the testes. So now what is the singular form of testes, guys? Testis is the singular form of testes. Nobody is remembering, then what is the use of teaching? So now, so as we know, what is the position of this one? This is present outside the abdominal cavity. So now if you'll see here, so why this scrotum is present, it is protecting the testes means because sperms cannot survive at the normal body temperature. So always what will happen, guys? So outside the abdominal cavity, the temperature of scrotum is above 3 degrees Celsius, lower than the temperature inside the body. So it is used to maintain the lower temperature compared to our body temperature in such a way that the testes provide an optimal temperature for the formation of sperms. That is what it is. So now once the sperms are formed, then they will come out and they will be collected into the coiled tube. That is what we used to call as epididymis. So now this is what it will be collect and it's like we can say temporary storage. So from there what will happen? They will be connected by a long tube. What is the tube name called as, guys? A tube name called as what? Vas deferens, or we can say sperm duct. Yes or no? So that is what we used to call as a sperm duct, or else we can say vas deferens. So now if you see After the long tube, the sperm duct or else vast difference, it will be, you can see. So here it will be finally reaching to which path? Finally, it will reaches to the junction. What is the junction called as, guys? Anyone? The junction is only is to called as urethra. Yes or no? Please respond me. So it is used to reaches to the urethra. So now urethra to where it will go? Urethra to it will go to the final ejection. That is what again outside the body. That is what we used to call as penis. So this is what the sperms will eject. But here, once the sperms are carried out through the epididymis to urethra by sperm duct, middle two more organs will come. What is the two more organs, guys? One is seminal vesicle.
Seminal vessel and protected
Yes.
gland.
So seminal vesicle and as well as prostate gland. So what is the use of this one? So they will make prostate gland. What is the use of this one? So they both will release. What they will release, guys? Please respond. So what they will release?
Hymen.
They will release not, they will not release hymen. They will release the required nutrition, and also they will release some kind of secretions toward to mix with the sperms, so that the sperms will mix with these nutritions, means in the sense of the secretions of this both seminal vesicle and as well as prostate gland, so that by reaching the urethra, it will turns into what, guys? It will turns into semen or semen, you can see. So now these semen, we are having uses. What is that? It is having semen contains what? The nutrition required for the sperms, and as well as it contains also what? It makes the transport easier for the sperms. They can easily swim inside the female body. That is what we used to call as semen. So this semen, after secretion of prostate gland and seminal vesicle, they will make their secretions. These secretions only contains these nutritions. So majorly this nutrition also, it contains fructose. Okay, so fructose is the sugar, one of the sugar. So fructose, and as well as it contains magnesium, zinc, and all the required minerals it will be having. Iron, magnesium, zinc, etc., etc. But it is not that much in detail, is not needed. So that is what I'm not saying. So it contains even citric acid, amino acids, free amino acids, fructose, enzymes, like so many things, potassium, zinc, and etc. So this is what we used to say nutrition, and as well as it will make it easier. Did you understand what I'm saying? So later what is happening? This semen will reach to the urethra to the penis, and it will eject. It will eject into a female reproductive system during the mating for the purpose of reproduction. So this is what the process of male reproductive system in a human body. So now if it comes to our today's class, we are going to study the next part is, what is that? The female reproductive system. But remember, in these two, one is surely is to come in every exam. So practice very carefully, and board exam you might be see today I will show you the way of asking questions, how the people are asking questions, and what is the importance of studying line to line. Each and every point we people must be aware of it. If not, we people cannot attempt in the exam. So that is what the female reproductive system. And one more thing, let it be, I will say you. Remember, chemistry only going to get, I think, 11 marks, I think, 11, not 10. And physics, 12 mark, biology, 13 mark. And remember, biology, under biology, one chapter is there. That is what? Natural resources, management of waste and all, recycling and all. This is what total. See, chemistry only 10 marks, physics 12 marks, biology only highest marks, 13 plus 5. This together we can say under biology only. So 18 marks biology, more than pass. So if we take total, we used to get 40 marks. So this is what the question paper pattern. So exactly they are following also in the sample papers. So imagine the priority of biology now. Did you understand what I'm saying? 13 plus 8, both will come under biology only, because this natural resources and management also will come under that only. So understand that According to that, you concentrate well. Each and every point, each and line to line, we people need to know. Then only we will get full mark. And I will show you the mark distribution also. 3-mark question means they are giving, particularly in physics, and I'm showing you. 3-mark question means they are giving step 1, 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 1 plus 1. So imagine the marks distribution. If you miss any one thing, then half mark will be deducted. Then even though if you have did correct question, you used to get only, you are going to allocate only 2.5 marks. That's all. Like this 3-4 questions if you will commit, then how many? 2 marks. Without knowing us, 2 marks will be lose. That is what I always will say. So we have to be very careful while attending the answer. So for that it requires a lot of what we can say practice and as well as hard work also. It is not going to come simply, and particularly we people don't have a habit of writing way of pattern. We people don't know how to write the answers. So that is what. So be careful and prepare. So now coming to here, today's class, what we are going to see, guys. So the second type of reproductive system, that is what in humans, that is what the female reproductive system. Shall we start, guys? But why the people are not all joined today? I don't know what is happening. So now that is what we can say, the female reproductive system, and you people need to learn this diagram also. Tarni, can we start, Tarni? So if we'll see here, the female reproductive system contains mainly the organs. If you notice it, first of all, who is the first important organ in female reproductive system, guys? That is what we used to say, ovaries. Do you understand? So ovaries, and this is the plural form of ovary. You might be noticing the female reproductive system. It is having 2 ovaries, which looks like a flower-like structures here. You might be see here. So left side one ovary, and the right side another one. Who is that? Right side one ovary. That is what we used to say, ovaries. So that is the first and foremost important part of female reproductive system. And the next one, oviduct. So this oviduct only we used to say fallopian tubes, and this is the next one, very important because it will carry out the egg released by the female reproductive system, means ovaries. So the importance we will study. So the first important part is ovaries, and the second important part is called as, what it is, guys? Oviducts, or also we can call it as fallopian tubes. Okay, and the next one is called as uterus, and this uterus, and this uterus is only also we used to call it as womb. Remember, and the last one is called as vagina, and this cervix, which will be useful only during the time of ejection and as well as delivery. So that I will say that. So these are the main important parts. That is what the first one is called as what? Ovaries, and the second one is called as oviduct, and the third one is called as uterus, and the fourth one is called as vagina. So now these are the 4 important parts of female reproductive system in humans. Now if you take here, again the same thing, like oval shaped, you can see here, and yesterday we have studied like testes, the same way here, ovaries, 1 pair of ovaries we have in female reproductive system. So they are present in oval shaped organs. So what is the shape of the ovaries, guys? They are the oval shaped organs. Oval shaped organs which are inside the abdominal cavity. But actually, testis is present where, guys? Testis is present is where? Outside the abdominal cavity. Yes or no? And these ovaries are present inside the abdominal cavity of a woman near the kidneys. That is what you have to remember. So what is the location of ovaries, guys? They are the oval shaped organs. They are present inside the abdominal cavity. Inside the abdominal cavity. And what is the location of this one? They are near to the kidneys. That is what you have to remember. So now if you say here, a woman has how many ovaries, guys? How many ovaries? This side 1 ovary and this side another ovary. So totally we can say a woman has 2 ovaries. If you'll observe here, these ovaries are called as a primary reproductive organs in a woman. Like that male, who is the primary reproductive organ, guys? Male, who is the primary reproductive? testis is the primary reproductive organ. Same way, here you will notice it, the ovaries are called as primary reproductive organs. Because why, guys? Anyone can say, please respond, communicate. Then only we people can understand in exam also you people can answer. So what is the why we can call them as primary reproductive organs? Anyone? Because please respond, everybody.
Sir, it produces gametes.
Yes, it will produce gametes. That is the first thing. So the main function of ovaries is they will make mature female sex cells, and or else we can say that is what eggs, or else we can say it is called as ova. That is the first point which we need to write it. So all of you write it. What is the first point? Ovaries. So what is the first importance of ovaries? Write it. The function of ovaries is 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 to make mature female sex cells, 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 to make mature female sex cells. What is that called as, guys? To make mature female sex cells or gametes. That is what we used to call it as ova, or we can say eggs. So that is the first important. And also another thing you have to important. So first of all, it will release the eggs, or else we used to call it as ova. Plus additional to this, what will release, guys? It will release the two hormones. That is what the female sex hormones. What is that hormones called as? One is estrogen. Please respond. And another one is called as, guide. That is what it is, progesterone. So this is the importance of ovaries in female reproductive system. So why the ovaries are called as primary reproductive organs in a woman? Because ovaries will releases eggs or ova, and also they will releases the female sex hormones. That is what we used to call as estrogen and progesterone. So now if you observe very carefully here, so now each ovary is composed of, if you let us go back to the picture. So now each ovary, if you notice it, it is composed of, it is like a small structures. Have you noticed it? Each ovary, if you notice it here, it contains some small structures. Yes, guys? Yes, please respond. Have you able to see here? So this is what if you see, the each ovary is composed of several thousands of follicles, which we used to call as unripe eggs or else unripe ova. Now, for example, I want to say, how many of you are eating the boiler chicken? Are you eating the boiler or else chicken? Please respond. Have you ate the chicken?
Sir.
So next time, or else if you are already seen, if you will cut the any kind of hen which is laying the eggs, means presently which is keeping the eggs every day, if you cut inside the body, hundreds of small eggs, unmature eggs will be, you can able to see it together. Have you noticed it anytime, anyone? Please respond. That is, so you might be see, if the picture is available, I will show you. That is, so that is what we can say, like that, or hundreds of each ovary which contains thousands of follicles. That is what we can say unripe eggs, or else we can say unripe ova. So 1 minute I will say you unripe eggs in chicken. Correct? Yeah. I will show. So used to eat also during chicken while you are it is very sensitive and it is very good taste also. You might be see this is what we used to say like this. Each ovary is also contains this. Have you seen this is? Have you noticed it? This is what like it is also unmatured egg, but soon it is going to lay these eggs. Have you seen here? Please respond. This is what
Yes,
is
sir.
called as unmatured eggs. Okay, a group of unmatured eggs. This is only, it will be like in female also. Each ovary contains thousands of like this unmatured or unripened eggs. That is what we used to call as follicles. What we used to call, guys? Follicles we used to call. Okay, so now if you notice it here, it is what the structure inside the chicken I am saying you. But if it comes to the humans, in ovaries it is present. So each ovary contains thousands of unripened eggs. This is what the shapes you people are notice it here. Do you understand? So every month one egg used to mature, and after menstruation cycle will start, and it used to release it from either one of the side. Then you might be ask me one question, sir. Here we have a two ovaries. Then which side the egg is released? Suppose see, menstruation cycle will start from this side. For example, it will start from this month left side, and the next month 100% it will start from right side. Do you understand? Like that, one after one, it is continuously it will proceed the process. So at the same side, continuously the eggs won't be released. One side after one side only they will release. So now this is what we used to say. So now if you notice it here, we're having two ovaries, and each ovary having what? Thousands of follicles. What do you mean by follicles, guys? What do you mean by
Unmatured egg.
follicles? Follicles
Unmatured
means,
egg.
yeah, unmatured eggs, or else we can say unripe eggs. You can say unripe eggs, or we can say unripe ova. So now if you'll see here, at the puberty, these follicles mature to form the ripe eggs or ripe ova required for fertilization. So monthly wise, it is used to one egg used to mature, and it used to release into the next further process for the fertilization or for the reproduction. So if you take here the next, if you notice it here above the ovary, we're having a something called as, you might be see, oviducts. So usually here funnel of oviducts also we can say, because which will make to allow the eggs to entering into the next one. That is what connecting between the ovary and the oviduct. That is what we used to call as a funnel of oviduct. Like while you're pouring the oil and all, we're having funnel, correct, guys? We're pouring the oil from one container to another container. So that is what we used to say. The same way here, the funnels which will carry out the egg from ovaries to the oviduct is called as funnel of oviduct. So now if you'll notice it here, once the egg is released from this, then the ovaries are just connected to a tubes-like structures. That is what we used to call as oviducts, or else these oviducts also we used to call as, what we used to call? Oviducts is also called as fallopian tubes. So if it is here, these oviducts are not directly connected to the ovaries, but they have a funnel shaped here. This is what the shape we used to call as funnel of oviduct. And here if you'll see, almost these funnels, they will cover the ovaries. Almost they will cover the ovaries. So when the egg is released, one egg is released, directly this egg will start moving towards to the fallopian tube for the further process called as reproduction or fertilization. So now if you'll notice it here, once the ovum or the eggshell ovary will release it by an ovary, it will goes into the oviduct through its funnel shaped opening. Then the fertilization of egg by a sperm takes place in this oviduct only. So where is the fertilization will take place, guys? Fertilization will take place by where? The fertilization will carried out in these fallopian tubes only. So once the egg is released by this ovary, then this ovum is used to move in these fallopian tubes. By the time the sperms will reach us to this then here the fertilization process will takes place. Then once the fertilization process will takes place, here only the fertilized egg, which we used to called as, what is that called as? Zygote formation will takes place. Then only later it will be matured into embryo. Embryo will start come and it will be stick to the walls of the uterus. That is what we will study in the fertilization process. So once the egg is released, so it will used with the help of funnel of oviduct. It is used to entering into the oviduct. Then there fertilization will takes place. Are you understand everyone, Kevin, Tarani? So there the fertilization process will be carried out. So once here, if you notice it, as I said already, the two oviducts, both they will connect it to a bag-like organ. That is what I said, where the embryo will store. The further development of baby will take place. That is what you can see here. Both the embryos, both the oviducts, they are connected to a bag-like structure. That bag-like structure only we used to call as, what is that known as, guys? What is that called as? Uterus, or we can say womb. Understanding? So now if you notice it here, the growth and development of fertilized ovum will take place at where, guys? Into a baby takes place in the uterus only. So that is the importance of uterus. So the growth and development of zygote or embryo, everything, growth and development of embryo will take place in where, guys? Uterus only. So till where embryo into a baby completely will carried out in this uterus only. So now here the uterus is connected to a narrow opening. This is what I said during the delivery time, these muscles only will be pushed out to get the baby to need the baby need to come out. So here a narrow kind of bones. That is what we can say through a narrow opening. That is what we used to call as cervix, we can say. This is what the opening which is used to connect uterus to the vagina. You understand? So these uterus through connecting to this narrow opening called as cervix to the another tube. So this is what another tube which is connecting this uterus and the vagina is called as cervix. What is that another tube? That another tube is only called as vagina, which opens to the outside of the body. So the only organ which will opens outside of the body is this vagina. So vagina and the uterus is connected by the cervix. So now if you see here, this vagina is a tubular structure. What is the structure of this one? So tubular structure. So this vagina also we used to call as birth canal. Because the baby, for the natural, not the cesarean, but the natural method of any kind of animal, including human beings, the baby we used to come through this with the help of cervix bones. This way, through the vagina only, it will be coming out. So that is what we used to call as birth canal. Do you understand? Because it is the passage that baby is born after the completion of development inside the uterus of the mother. So that is why we used to call it as this. Also we can say a birth control, a birth canal. Okay. So now here you remember in women, the opening for passing out urine and as well as vaginal opening are separate. It is not the same. That is what also you have to remember. Means the urethra for urine releasing and as well as this vaginal opening, both are separate. They are not having the same hole like for the man reproductive system. So for man ejecting both urine and as well as sperm, semen, both were having same hole, but female does not have. They are having two openings. One is for urine ejection and the second one is for vaginal opening. So that is what you have to remember. So now if you see here, the female reproductive system in human is also very complex, more complex than that of male reproductive system. And this complexity in structure and functioning of this female reproductive system is necessary for the union of sperms and as well as for ovum inside the female body. So now how this fertilization will take place, we will study how the development of baby in mother's uterus will carried out, how in womb the baby will develop and all, we'll see now. So let us start. This is what the female reproductive system. Once again, quickly we'll recall what we have studied and later we'll go for, now we know egg is released and also with the help of vaginal cavity opening, the sperms is also entering into the inside the female reproductive body. So now how the fertilization further process will takes place to carry out the formation of embryo and as well as a new baby, new offspring. That is what we will study in detail. So now what is the main important parts we have to remember in female reproductive system? What is the main important parts? So one is what? First one is ovaries. Understand? So how many ovaries we have, guys? How many ovaries we have? 2 ovaries we have. So now what is the shape of this one? The oval shaped organs which is present inside the abdominal cavity. Inside the abdominal cavity, and they are very close to the where? They are very near to the kidneys they are present. Okay. So now these eggs, you can notice it. So these ovaries, they are containing thousands of unmatured or unripened eggs. That is what we used to call it as follicles. Now, these ovaries almost covered by some kind of funnel shaped one. That is what we used to call it as funnels of duct, which will help to pass the egg into the where? Which will pass the egg into the oviduct, or we can say fallopian tube. So what is the fallopian tubes? A fallopian tubes who will collect the eggs from the ovaries, and where the what is that fertilization process will take place. That is what we used to call it as oviduct or fallopian tubes. So these end of these fallopian tubes, a pair of fallopian tubes, were having a bag-like structure. That is what we used to call it as what? Uterus, or we used to say womb. So where the further development of baby from embryo into the new baby will be takes place at this uterus only. Now uterus and the vagina, the open, which will expose to the open outside, it is connected by the narrow bones. That is what we used to call as cervix bones, which will helpful during the birth time or else the delivery time of the pregnancy woman. So now if we'll take here only thing which will expose to the outside of this female reproductive system, this vagina, and this also we used to call it as birth canal, because through its only a baby, once it will develop completely inside the uterus, it is used to come outside, from inside to outside with the help of this. This is only, that is why we used to call it as birth canal. So if you take female reproductive system, they are having a separate openings for one is for urine and another one is for vaginal opening. So now if you notice it, these also like compared to the male reproductive system, female reproductive system is much more complex, because it is there only. Male reproductive system, just it will eject the semen and it will be, that's all, the functioning of the male reproductive system is over. But female reproductive system, later fertilization also need to take place inside this, and later the growth and development of baby also need to carry out in this uterus, and delivery also need to take place through this only. That is why it is even more complex structure, and it is having more functions compared to the male reproductive system. That is what we are going to study. The next concept which we are going to study is fertilization. Now you people understand what is male and what is female reproductive system. Yes or no? For every animals and as well as humans, everything, the similar kind of reproductive systems is present. So now meeting is going to end. Now the next concept which we are going to study is fertilization. So please all of you keep heading fertilization and join back, and we will start what is fertilization and as well as development of embryo. Okay.